Karina Rosewood, a spirited 25-year-old woman, lived on the outskirts of a small town nestled at the edge of a sprawling forest. She was a lover of everything alive, the foliage that danced in the breeze, the critters that made their homes in the nooks of tree barks, and the echo of the forest animals that lullabied the world to sleep each night. Nature was her solace, her home, her ultimate retreat. One warm afternoon, Karina, adorned in her evergreen hiking boots, decided to explore the deeper, untouched fringes of the woodland that stretched beyond the boundaries of her town. The forest was a mix of vibrant greens and browns, with sunlight dappling through the thick foliage overhead. As she trudged on, her keen ears picked up an unusual sound, a faint whimper carried on the breeze. It was the sound of raw pain. Fear prickled at her senses, but curiosity proved stronger. Karina followed the cries until she came upon a devastating sight. A large wolf, its coat as gray as the winter sky, was trapped in a cruel snare, fear visible in its yellow-gold eyes. Karina had heard tales of wolves in her childhood, of their savagery and mercilessness, tales told to keep children away from the forest edge. The sight of the wolf rekindled those ancient fears, her heart hammering in her chest. Yet, the sight of the majestic creature, so powerful yet rendered so helpless, filled her with a profound sense of empathy. She took a deep breath, steadying her shaking hands. "Hey, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you," she whispered, inching forward, her voice barely above a whisper. The wolf's eyes, full of pain and fear, locked onto hers, its body stiffening. "I just want to help." Carefully, Karina reached into her backpack and pulled out a pair of thick gloves and wire cutters. She'd learned from her father that one must always be prepared when entering the wild. With utmost caution, she approached the snare, the wolf's low growls ringing in her ears. The snare was old and rusty, digging into the wolf's flesh. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she couldn't. This creature was hurt and scared, and if she didn't help it now, it wouldn't survive. Steeling her nerves, she gripped the wire with her cutters and with a hard push, snapped it apart. The wolf, suddenly freed, leaped back, its eyes wide, its body trembling. Karina stumbled backward, gasping for breath, the tension leaving her in waves. She looked up at the wolf. A new emotion replaced the fear in its eyes, perhaps confusion, perhaps gratitude. Regardless, she knew she'd done the right thing. The wolf limped back into the forest, disappearing among the trees. Karina stood there, watching, her heart still pounding, but her soul filled with an unexpected tranquility. Today, she'd confronted her childhood fear, freed a creature from a painful trap, and in the process, formed a connection she'd cherish for a lifetime. Days had turned into weeks since Karina's fateful encounter with the ensnared wolf. Still, the memory of the terrified creature and its pleading eyes had burrowed deep into her mind. A unique connection had formed that day, one that tugged at Karina, urging her back to the dense woodland. Venturing into the forest with a backpack filled with bandages and food, Karina traced her steps back to where she'd found the wolf. At the edge of the clearing, she found a trail of paw prints leading deeper into the forest. She followed, her heart pounding with anticipation. There, in a sheltered grove surrounded by towering pines, she found the gray wolf, still limping, but alive. The wolf turned to look at Karina, its eyes no longer filled with fear but recognition. It didn't run or growl, it stayed, observing her. "I won't hurt you," Karina reassured, slowly extending a piece of meat towards the wolf. It approached her cautiously, sniffing at the offered food before accepting it gingerly. Every visit afterward followed this newfound ritual. Days blurred into weeks, Karina visiting the wolf daily, bringing food, and tending to its healing wound. A silent understanding developed between them. In the wild, a curious dance of trust and friendship bloomed, a bond not defined by species but by shared experiences and mutual respect. The wolf, now fondly christened Luna by Karina due to her silvery coat that shimmered under the moonlight, started warming up to her human friend. Luna's once guarded demeanor softened, and she began seeking Karina's company, even leaning into her gentle caresses. One evening, under the glowing sunset, Karina found Luna perched atop a hill, overlooking the town below. The woman joined the wolf, sitting beside her in comfortable silence. Their moments together were like this, tranquil and filled with unspoken words. Luna's company became Karina's solace, and her well-being became Karina's silent mission. In Luna, she found a companion, a confidant, a friend who listened and understood in ways no human ever could. They were two souls, both lost in their own ways, finding comfort in each other. Luna, in turn, seemed to reciprocate the feelings. The wild wolf, often seen as a dangerous creature, revealed a softer side, a soul-craving companionship just as Karina did. Their friendship, a rare sight to behold, was a testament to the power of empathy and understanding. Every sunset marked an end to their shared time, and every sunrise brought the anticipation of their meeting. Each farewell was a silent promise of return, and each reunion, a celebration of their unique friendship. As the day's glow dimmed and the moon took its reign, Karina leaned against Luna, her fingers absent-mindedly stroking the soft fur. "Life is full of surprises, isn't it, Luna?" she mused, her gaze focused on the twinkling town below. Who would have thought that a woman and a wolf could be friends? Years had gracefully rolled on, the seasons changing like the pages of a book. Yet, Karina's dedication to Luna remained unwavering. Their bond had woven a unique tapestry of shared moments, of endless conversations, shared silences, and the tranquil camaraderie that defined their afternoons. But one day, Luna woke up to an unusual silence. The forest hummed its usual tune, but the whispering wind carried no scent of Karina. Confused and puzzled, Luna waited. She lay at their usual meeting spot, ears perked up, listening for the soft crunching of leaves that announced Karina's arrival. But the hours ticked by, and the familiar sound never came. Days turned into a week, and then two, but Karina's absence remained unexplained. Luna's once playful eyes were now filled with worry and longing. She missed the sound of Karina's soothing voice, the warmth of her touch, and even the stories she told. Luna would often howl in the late hours of the night, a mournful song echoing through the silent forest, a plea for her missing friend to return. Driven by her growing concern, Luna decided to venture beyond the forest. She had seen Karina heading towards the cluster of lights nestled at the foot of the hill countless times. Despite the unknown, Luna took the risk. Maybe, just maybe, she would find her friend there. The town was a startling contrast to Luna's familiar forest. Harsh, artificial lights replaced the soft glow of the moon, and the natural orchestra of the forest was drowned by an alien symphony of clanging metal, booming voices, and mechanical whirs. The chaotic flurry of the town was a world away from the peace she had known, but Luna had to find Karina. She trailed Karina's scent through winding alleys and crowded streets. Her search brought her to a place filled with the scent of fresh flowers, yet surrounded by an aura of somber stillness. She saw humans huddled together, their faces wearing identical expressions of grief. Luna hesitated, the scent of sorrow in the air causing a chill to run down her spine. An odd scent broke through the mix, a scent Luna would recognize anywhere: Karina. Her heartbeat quickened as she traced the scent towards a gathering of humans, only to halt in front of an engraved stone marked Karina Summers. Luna stared at the stone, unable to comprehend the meaning behind the solemn faces and the engraving. In the heart of the town, Luna stood bewildered. The cacophony of sorrow-drenched voices hung heavily around her, an odd harmony in the otherwise bustling town. Luna's keen senses, usually so attuned to the harmonies of the forest, were overwhelmed. Yet, amidst the overwhelming scents and sounds, one familiar trace of Karina kept her grounded. Her mind raced, trying to piece together the puzzling human behavior. The peculiar stone with Karina's name carved onto it, the forlorn expressions, the whispering wind carrying snatches of conversation about a sudden demise, a dread began to creep into Luna's heart. She roamed the outskirts of the crowd, her nostrils flaring as Karina's scent led her towards an unusual wooden box enveloped by a crowd. Unmindful of the startled gasps and the few cries of fear that her sudden appearance elicited, Luna made her way to the box. On it, a spray of fragrant lilies and roses lay, their scent unable to mask the unmistakable aroma of Karina. Her heart pounded, the dread in her gut coiling tighter. A man separated from the crowd, his tall figure casting a long shadow under the afternoon sun. He bore a stark resemblance to Karina, the same azure eyes and curly brown hair. Luna recognized him as someone who often accompanied Karina to the forest. Karina called him Ethan. Ethan's eyes locked onto Luna's. There was a momentary flash of panic in his eyes, quickly replaced by recognition. He remembered this majestic wolf. Luna saw the grief etched deep into his features, his eyes a mirror to the anguish she felt. He slowly approached Luna, his gaze never leaving her golden eyes. "Luna," he said, his voice carrying an undercurrent of sorrow. "You've come for her." As Ethan broke into a narrative of Karina's sudden illness and the subsequent misdiagnosis that had led everyone to believe she was gone, Luna struggled to comprehend the enormity of the situation. Her Karina was gone? The finality of it was a blow. She felt a wave of pain, raw and powerful, crash over her. Luna could only respond in the way she knew best, a mournful howl, rising from the depths of her heart and echoing around the cemetery. It was a farewell, a lament, and a promise. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Luna, still nestled by the coffin, reflected on her profound loss. But amidst the sorrow, an instinctual resolve kindled within her. She would not leave. She could not leave. Not yet. As the stars began to dot the evening sky, Luna's vigil at the side of Karina's casket remained unbroken. With every passing hour, her restlessness surged, an unignorable call from the depths of her being. A wolf's intuition, some might say. Murmurs of fear and confusion ran through the crowd. The inhabitants of the quiet town were unaccustomed to the raw, primal presence of a wolf, especially one that seemed inconsolably determined to stay by a human's casket. Luna was acutely aware of the unease she was causing, the whispered speculations, the mix of curiosity and fear. Yet, she remained undeterred. When the first light of dawn trickled through the silent trees, heralding the beginning of Karina's funeral, Luna made her move. Rising from her quiet vigil, her golden eyes focused on the casket that held her friend, she let out a deep, mournful howl that echoed throughout the town. As the last note died down, she lunged at the casket with desperate resolve. Cries of alarm rose from the onlookers. Some scrambled to get away, others watched, petrified, as Luna scratched and clawed at the wooden box. Yet amidst the chaos, Ethan stood transfixed. The same grief that clouded his eyes seemed to be mirrored in Luna's, his heart resonating with the wolf's pain. "Luna," he tried to soothe, reaching out a hesitant hand towards her. His voice was drowned out by Luna's relentless whines and growls as she tried to reach Karina. The rawness of Luna's grief was palpable, painting a stark contrast to the restrained mourning of the humans. The initial panic gradually subsided, replaced by a profound silence as the townsfolk watched Luna's struggle. Her actions, although alarming, held a deep-seated pain that every person present could relate to, the anguish of a goodbye left unfinished. As Luna's efforts started to leave visible marks on the casket, an odd feeling gripped the crowd. The desperation of a wild creature battling to reach her human friend painted a picture so raw, so undeniably heartbreaking, that it pulled at their heartstrings. The sun had journeyed halfway across the sky when Luna's persistence paid off. With a final, decisive tug, Luna broke open the casket. The crowd gasped, a collective breath held at the sight of Karina's pale face. Luna, however, remained focused, her body trembling with exertion and anticipation. This was it. Luna had finally reached Karina. But what was supposed to be a sorrowful farewell took a sudden, miraculous turn that left everyone in awe, questioning the very reality of what they were witnessing. In the wake of Luna's desperate outburst, the solemn funeral had transformed into a spectacle of profound shock and disbelief. The shattered silence gave way to gasps of terror and astonishment as Karina's pale, seemingly lifeless body suddenly drew in a shuddering breath. Luna's golden eyes locked onto Karina's face, her ears perked up at the barely audible gasp that slipped past Karina's blue lips. The crowd recoiled in disbelief. Ethan, wide-eyed and frozen, barely managed to stammer out, "Karina?" His wife, his beloved Karina, who had been declared dead, was breathing. The surreal reality of the moment hung heavy in the air, and time seemed to stand still. Pandemonium ensued as people scrambled to fetch the town's doctor, Arthur. His initial skepticism faded quickly as he assessed the bewildering situation. A flicker of recognition flashed in his eyes as he performed a hasty examination. "It's catalepsy," he announced, his voice shaking with disbelief. "She's been misdiagnosed." Catalepsy, a condition that could mimic death itself, had been the culprit. Karina's heart was weak but beating, her body rigid yet alive. She had been trapped within her own body, unable to move or speak, creating the illusion of death. A wave of relief washed over the crowd, transforming their fear into jubilation. Prayers of gratitude echoed around, the funeral turning into an impromptu celebration of life. But no one was more relieved than Ethan, who cradled his wife's head, whispering words of love and apology. As Arthur rushed to prepare the necessary treatments, the town was in awe of Luna, the wolf who had saved Karina's life. Despite her unconventional methods, Luna had managed to unveil the truth that eluded them all, prompting a wave of mixed feelings. Some feared her wild nature, but most admired her fierce loyalty. Meanwhile, Luna stayed by Karina's side, her nudge gentle as she encouraged her beloved friend to hang on. Karina's hand twitched, fingers brushing against Luna's fur, a touch that spoke volumes. It was a moment that perfectly encapsulated their bond, unspoken yet understood, transcending the barriers of species. As the day drew to a close, Luna and Ethan found themselves on the same side, their relief mirroring each other's. As they waited for Karina to recover, they knew their lives had been irrevocably changed. As the sun rose over the small town, bathing the streets in hues of gold, whispers about the miraculous event began to fade, replaced with an electrifying anticipation for what was yet to come. At the heart of it all, in the rustic cottage at the town's periphery, the woman whose life had been saved against all odds, Karina, woke to the comfort of her husband's presence and the rhythmic breathing of the creature that had saved her life. Looking into Luna's golden eyes, Karina found an overwhelming sense of gratitude welling up within her. "Your family," she whispered, stroking the wolf's thick, silver fur. Ethan, seated on the bed's edge, his hand enlaced with his wife's, nodded. He too had grown to see the wolf not as a wild beast but as a part of their life. News of their decision to adopt Luna spread through the town like wildfire. The reactions, however, were as diverse as the town's populace. The town's elderly, Mrs. Eldridge, her brows furrowed in worry, said, "A wolf's a wolf. It ain't no pet." But the children, always excited for the unusual and adventurous, looked forward to seeing Luna, their eyes gleaming with curiosity and delight. Meanwhile, Luna adjusted to her new life with an animalistic grace, her instincts keeping her respectful of the boundaries within the human home. She explored the cottage, her nose twitching at every new scent, and the yard became her playground. The home that had been just Karina and Ethan's was now Luna's too, her presence breathing new life into it. Despite objections, Karina and Ethan stood firm on their decision, their resolve forged by Luna's unwavering loyalty and their blossoming affection for her. To them, Luna was no ordinary pet, she was their friend, their savior. Months passed, seasons changed, and the initial wave of objections receded to the fringes of memory. The townsfolk learned to accept Luna, her heroic story transforming her into something of a local legend. Kids would often sneak treats to her, and some even dared to pet her under Karina's watchful eyes. One sunny afternoon, as Karina watched Luna play with the neighborhood children, her heart filled with joy and gratitude. Her hand found Ethan's, their fingers intertwining in a silent vow of shared commitment to their unconventional family. Though Luna had been a wild creature of the forest, she had found a home, not confined by walls but within the hearts of Karina and Ethan. The echoes of her heroic act reverberated through their life, redefining their understanding of companionship. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of purple and pink, their home stood as a testament to their unique bond. In the heart of their little town, A woman, a man, and a wolf had become a family. Chapter 8: A Life-Saving Friendship. The sun was setting on another day in the life of the unusual family at the edge of town. Karina sat on her porch, her fingers gently threading through Luna's fur. The world was bathed in hues of golden and orange, the setting sun casting long shadows on the ground. As Luna's amber eyes met Karina's, memories of their unique friendship fluttered in the silence of the moment. It was not just about the day Luna had saved Karina from a fate worse than death, it was about every moment since then, moments that saw an undeniable bond between two beings of different species, united by an invisible thread of love and respect. Ethan joined his wife, a gentle smile playing on his lips as he witnessed this wordless conversation. He leaned back, his gaze focused on the interplay between nature and the two beings he loved more than anything. The sight was a vivid portrait of harmony, resonating with the profound lesson their life had taught them. "Isn't it beautiful?" Karina whispered, her voice filled with wonder. She wasn't just talking about the breathtaking sunset, but also about the essence of their coexistence. "It's more than that," Ethan replied softly, "it's a testament to the miracles that kindness and respect can weave." They sat in silence, the profoundness of their words hanging in the air. Each of them was reflective, their thoughts wandering back to the journey they had embarked upon. The moments of fear, the overwhelming joy, and the unquestionable faith had made them more than just friends, they were a family. As the night deepened, Karina began to recount their story, starting from the day she had found Luna trapped in a snare. Her words painted vivid images, each scene coming alive in the quiet of the night. The tale was not just about a woman and a wolf, but a powerful narrative of understanding, respect, and the rare bond that can exist between humans and animals. As she concluded, the message was clear. The story of Luna and Karina was an invitation for everyone to look beyond the confines of species and stereotypes. It was a testament to the impacts of kindness, not only in the grand gestures of heroism but in the daily interactions, in the respect for every living creature, in the recognition of the shared life force that binds us all. The moon was high in the sky when they finally retired for the night, Luna's comforting presence a reminder of the miracles life had in store. They drifted off to sleep, their dreams filled with the joyous echoes of their extraordinary journey. "Will they remember our story?" Karina asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "They will," Ethan assured, "because it's a story of love and respect. And these stories, they stand the test of time." Did you like this story? Comment below what you think and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.